8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everybody out there in YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys. In this particular video, we are going to get a little mental in this particular video. Before we even get that far, let me get the introductions out of the way. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
It was reported by CNN before the turn of the new year that the World Health Organization, had made the decision to recognize gaming disorder as a mental health condition coming up for the new revision, the ICD-11 revisions that are coming up for 2018. Now, who are we talking about as far as the World Health Organization? The World Health Organization is pretty much a panel of highly esteemed international doctors from all over the world. Basically, the majority of the modern countries that have any sort of healthcare systems or anything like that. Basically, they came together to put together a system of organized and classified diagnoses and codes and things like that, and that was called the ICD guidelines, or the International Classification of Diseases. The reason why they did this is that let's say that I am suffering from a sickness, and that somewhere in France they have an experimental cure or treatment for that particular one. I can go ahead, and if I'm sent over to doctors in France, then what would happen is that those doctors can then, if they're looking at a set of diagnoses and classifications of disorders and things like that, basically they want to make sure that they're speaking the same regulated language all the way across the board internationally. All right, that way, if I do go to France and let's say I need that experiment, I'm suffering from something. If I'm suffering from a lung affliction, they don't end up cutting off my foot. All right, that's the reason why the World Health Organization exists, and that's the reason why they put together the International Classification of Diseases and the ICD guidelines. All right, now where that comes to us as gamers is that every year they go over their guidelines, and they go over to see what revisions they have to make to the guidelines due to whatever current new research and trends in health happen to occur as they see as it occurs over the last few years. And for the ICD-11 Beta Draft that is coming up, they have two things that are listed as brand new diagnoses, and that's gaming disorder and hazardous gaming. All right. Basically, these are put in as far as issues that can actually be coded and built upon when somebody is putting together medical records for somebody who comes in for, any sort of mental or physical ailment as it goes. Okay. Now, I do have to point out that these are not set in stone ICD codes. These are actually set in the I believe the for research category, and that these are these particular diagnoses are like I said, they're being put in there for tracking for people, for medical institutions. If they want to go ahead and research it, they can go ahead and do further research on it, and then it can be tracked accordingly. All right. Now, the thing about this is that World Health Organization went ahead and they put this out, and it was immediately met with a lot of criticism. All right. Surprisingly, folks on both sides of the political spectrum, all right, and mental health professionals and behavioral health professionals all over the place, really started going out of their way and saying, this may not be the most responsible thing that the World Health Organization has gone out of their way to do. In fact, the Huffington Post, all right, which we know is they're like just bastions for the freedoms of gaming and everything all over the place. All right, actually called the diagnosis for gaming disorder and hazardous gaming as junk diagnoses, and that their particular, the World Health Organization going ahead and throwing that up there within the mental health section of the ICD was actually trivializing mental illnesses as they exist right now. Myself and everybody else in this particular video have our own criticisms on it. But it's kind of funny how this has kind of come out. I think this is one that we can have a lengthy conversation on. Probably one that's a little bit more thought-provoking. Maybe not as humorous as usual, but a little bit more thought-provoking than usual. Guys, what do you think about the fact that the World Health Organization, by putting these two beta ICD codes into the upcoming ICD-11 codebook, they're basically saying that, you know, it can be construed that gaming is hazardous to you, or that if you game avidly that you suffer from some sort of behavioral disorder.
They would have to be very, very specific about all this. I mean, if you really think about something like this, they have to come up with just specifics and leave it at specifics. Having it just as broad as they have it, no.
Well, let me go ahead and read off the gaming disorder description as it's put in under the ICD-11 Beta Draft. All right. Let's see here. The ICD-11 Beta Draft under 6D11 gaming disorder. All right. Basically, it's a subset of disorders due to addictive behaviors. And its description is: gaming disorder is characterized by a pattern of persistent or recurrent gaming behavior, digital gaming or video gaming, which may be online, an example over the internet or offline, manifested by 1, impaired control over gaming, example given, onset, frequency, intensity, duration, termination, context. 2, increasing priority given to gaming to the extent of that gaming takes precedence over other life interests and daily activities. And 3, continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. The behavior pattern is sufficiently severe to result in significant impairment in personal, family, social, educational, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. The pattern of gaming behavior may be continuous or episodic and recurrent. The gaming behavior and other features are normally evident over a period of at least 12 months in order for a diagnosis to be assigned, although the required duration may be shortened if all diagnostic requirements are met and symptoms are severe. So right there, it's pretty obvious that casual gaming or just going out of your way in gaming isn't classified as a disorder. Okay, this is very specific. It has to be something that is causing some sort of damage or impairment to your ability to function normally.
I'm trying to think about that because, again, most gamers, especially as a hobby, gaming is an expensive hobby. I mean, come on. In order for us to have what we have to maintain life in order to have it, in order to get it, in order to play it, in order to maintain it. Due to the stuff that we have behind us, I mean, come on. We're gamers. We've been playing video games ever since, you know, our adolescent ages. And most gamers are in that category. It doesn't apply to us as far as stopping human life in order to say, no, fuck paying my bills, I want to play games. Well, if you don't pay your bills, you will no longer be playing games. So there are certain types of things that have to do with this disorder that kind of cancels itself out, because it's like, wait, if I don't maintain life, I'm not going to be able to do the things that I like or love or hobbies or anything like that. Gray Mouse, what are your first impressions about this?
Well, I mean, it seems like they've been attacking gaming ever since its inception. You know, I mean, it was hit hard when gaming was started getting popular in the 80s, with various people trying to put in different things on gaming, and it hasn't stopped. You know, it's been swept under the rug type of thing, and it just, or forgotten and then brought up again, forgotten, brought up again, forgotten, brought up again. But for the World Health Organization to propose this as a mental disorder, I think that kind of steps over the line there. I mean, there's other more important disorders that need to be looked at. I'm not saying that it's not worth looking at, but the way they seem like it, you know, the way they want to do it is like, it is a disorder. It is gaming disorder. You know, I mean, they want that as a category under other disorders, mental disorders that's already been listed for years.
Will it ever get to the point where insurance companies will ask, okay, how long do you game in a day in order to be considered to have coverage from us?
If it's on an ICD draft, yes, because the thing is that here is the side effect of things being on the ICD document, also the DSM documents for folks who, health professionals who deal with billing or anything like that, or deal with managed health or health insurance. Based off of what the diagnoses are classified under, your insurance may choose not to cover you, may not choose to sit there and cover your services. All right.
Or it could be on the other side of that same coin. It'll cost you more to get the same coverage because you fall underneath that category. Because, yeah. I mean, the insurer is going to win no matter what. They're either going to, A, choose not to cover you, or B, hike up your rates so much because, you know, because of the because it was categorized as that.
So can this spill on family coverage as well because of people that have children that play video games?
Yes.
A lot of question marks, man.
Yes, this can. Yes, this can. And that's really kind of where my initial thoughts on this was that this is stupid shit. All right, that's my initial honest thought on it. All right, this is some really, really stupid shit. Okay, but the thing is that here's the thing. All right, retail people, they try to sell you things at retail and everything else. The World Health Organization, their job is to sit there and to try to go out of their way and classify things based off of the newest medical trends and things that they see popping up more and more. There are more and more people running around that are connected to the internet that have a digital device inside of their pocket. There are fucking kids that even before they know how to fucking speak or spell or identify things, they know how to tap and swipe. All right. And that's just the fucking truth. All right. So, yeah, you know,
most kids before they learn how to speak even have a favorite TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know that as far as it goes and everything else, like with this particular one, I think the part of me that makes it really kind of hard to sit there and take it as something that could possibly be even educational at some point is the fact that, you know, there may be other underlying pre-existing, you know, issues or disorders, or whether they be emotional, mental, or behavioral disorders, that where if somebody just happens to be gaming a lot, you know, that just happens to be part of the whole brouhaha and the whole storm of things that's going on in that person's life. All right,
they'll just be lumped up in there.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is that with some of the things that happen, you know, when it came to that, like I said, that was my initial set of reservations. The other thing was that when I started seeing that, oh, they've got this under ICD-9, ICD-11, and which means that there are going to be DSM codes for it and all of that. That means this will affect people's health insurance and their health coverage. Again, whether or not you're a gamer or not, this is something that should fucking concern you. All right, because if in the future, hazard like either gaming disorder or hazardous gaming, ends up being something that's determined as, like, I don't know, a pre-existing condition or something like that will suddenly disqualify you for health benefits, you should be concerned.
What if they try to list it as hereditary? You own games, your children will have access to those games.
So it hasn't gone that far. It's just set up for research. All right.
Right. But
I have to say right now, that's just them doing their job.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, even though I don't think they're doing their job very well, because from my understanding, there are a whole bunch of other things that, this behavioral stuff that's being mentioned can also fall under, that already exists within the ICD codes and everything.
Right.
I don't. Yeah, I'm at one time I'm having a lot of difficulty coming to terms with this being a good thing. All right, Grey Mouse, you were going to say something there?
Yeah. Let's talk about how developers and research and development for these publishers and stuff, how do they use addictive and gambling with the video games? So these publishers and game developers have been using this for years. Of course they want somebody to sit there for days in front of their game. More than likely those guys will probably be doing microtransactions, giving them money. So with this being labeled as a mental disorder, is that going to affect the publishers and the game and development side of gaming? Because now they can't use that addictive behavior to sell their products?
Well, most of that if the game is good or not.
But they still like, what can I get these people to sit there and grind for hours and hours and hours and hours on end? That's part of the research and development for video games.
Or have replay value.
Replay value, yeah.
Yeah, if the game is good. I mean, when you discuss classic gaming, some people will just go back in time and, well, not literally, and go play the games of, a long time ago just because they're good.
Well, that just proves that they've been doing that ever since the beginning. An addictive gameplay. Well, I mean, what brings you back to Pac-Man? What brings you to Space Invaders? What brings you back to Mario? Because it's fun, it's addictive.
Well, here's the thing. This is the other side of the issue. All right, and I think this is quite the elephant in the room. That unfortunately, I don't think many gamers are going to sit there and ever bring up, and that's the fact that okay, if we're talking about good games are very much at times can have an addictive quality to them. All right. Whether or not they're pushing emotional or psychological buttons in you that you don't even know are being pushed. All right. The fact that, the tempo of the aliens speed up in fucking Space Invaders when you shoot them. All right. The fact that after 90 seconds, Sinistar shows up and he starts chasing you around, yelling at you, "You will die," while you try to run away from him. In the old arcade game and stuff like that. There is a lot of things that, when it comes to games, if there wasn't any sort of emotional or psychological, or even in sort of endorphin release, to actually playing through it, you probably wouldn't get to the point where you'd be enjoying it that much. All right. And as humans, we're wired a certain way. The thing that worries me, especially considering things over the last few months, is that, like Grey Mouse was saying, publishers and developers are going out of their way, and not only are they identifying these sort of things a lot easier, but they're more prevalent in actually exploiting those things within games, within players that are out there.
Because they have the tools to do it now, to where you can look on somebody's profile and find out what they're doing on the grand scheme of things.
I mean, here's the one thing that classic games did not have that modern games have access to. Okay, they didn't have none of the classic games out there had a patent on file showing that. Guess what? There's a way that the publishers could go out of their way to skew actual matchmaking to go ahead and reinforce your microtransaction buying habits.
They didn't have data tables like they do now, especially online gaming. They just didn't have access to that stuff.
It's with technology coming along the way it is, it's going to present different challenges. All right, and with that is going to come other sort of baggage. All right, now with that all being said, I still think the World Health Organization is painting with a really broad fucking brush with this set of disorders. Okay, because with a lot of folks who have gone out of their way to go ahead and criticize what they've done so far with it, there are a lot of folks who are saying that they're trivializing existing mental health disorders, or that. Guess what? There are already pre-existing disorders that they have ICD codes on file for this that would already apply to these sort of things.
Real quick, I want to interject here. Are they even taking in consideration of pre-existing mental disorders when they're clumping everybody into this gaming disorder? Or are they actually taking that data?
No. Because the thing is. No, because of the way that the ICD codes work is that, guess what? When you sit there and when you hit an ICD code and you throw that up, it doesn't exist by itself. There is never an ICD code that exists by itself. Mm-hmm. Okay, there may be individual and there are multiple diagnosis codes that will exist on a claim form or whatnot. So somebody could sit there and say, hey, look, we have somebody who has a gambling disorder that's, precipitated with the gaming disorder, online gaming and stuff like that. He may be, show signs of OCD and all of that other stuff. The one thing about it is that, when it comes to these particular codes, and I know this from experience, is that these things do not exist by themselves. Okay. The thing about it, though, is that for the purpose of classifying things and having the language the same across the countries, all the countries that have managed health systems, you have to be as specific as fucking possible. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The problem being is something bigger than the World Health Organization doing this. It's another issue that I have with health insurance as a whole, but that's another conversation altogether.
So wait a minute. So wait. Let's look at this a little deeper. Let's look this a little deeper here. So your chances of being misdiagnosed would increase substantially under this.
No.
It's kind of like if someone already has a mental disorder or just mentally unstable, and they somehow get a hold of a gun. Yeah. So what are they going to point to? The gun.
The gun.
Not the fact that they have this.
It must be the gun's fault. It's the gun's fault.
Yeah. So we have to ban all guns.
Yeah.
Not the fact that they had a mental issue before all of that.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean by misdiagnosed. Because if somebody gets diagnosed as having a gaming disorder,
we've already sorry to cut you off, Grey Mouse, but we already had that.
Yeah.
there's been cases that people are and then next thing you know, they go and do some shit, and they go and do some research, with or they go into dude's house or whatever. Oh, Call of Duty. Call of Duty made him do it.
Yeah, that was the Columbine. What was that?
Oh, wait.
It was Doom with Columbine.
Columbine. Doom. Oh, it must be Doom. Doom was the one who made those kids go. I'm just saying, this is to me, I kind of agree with the Reverend. It's to me, maybe this is just my opinion then. It's extremely dangerous, I think, to paint with this large brush that they're doing. They need to be specific. I mean,
that's what I said earlier, because
the ABCs of this. They cannot just say, they have to be very specific. Otherwise,
because again, someone can already have a mental disorder. Oh, well, while they were having this mental disorder, they were playing Grand Theft Auto. So it was the video game that triggered it, or they made it just go even harder with the mental disorder.
See, here's the thing. With or without those gaming disorder and hazardous gaming existing even as beta codes within the ICD code list, right? That's all stuff that's still, up to the discretion of whatever panel of doctors you're working with. And they're not infallible. People get misdiagnosed with shit all the time. They get misdiagnosed with physical disorders all the time, much less mental health disorders.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
How far removed are they, though?
How far removed are they?
How far removed are those doctors who's going to be sitting in a room saying that, okay, this group A who does this particular who inhibit these behaviors are now known as a gaming disorder?
That doctor could be right next to you, looking you in your face.
Huh?
That doctor could be right next to you, looking you in your face, putting these, putting together an ICD set. All right, for the claim form that they have to sit there and send over to insurance. That's going to go ahead and then manage whatever suggestions for prescriptions and other stuff otherwise. Okay, but like I said, that's brings up other issues that I have with the health insurance and the healthcare system that we have anyways. And that is a completely whole other video. All right.
So what's treatment for something like this if it ever comes to pass?
Cold turkey, bitch. I'm breaking your fingers.
No. Throw away the games. So, get rid of the games. Target all the games. Let's get rid of this all the way around. Clean sweep. And that's what I think they're trying to go for sooner rather than later.
Okay, so let's talk about this too. Is the same rules going to be for adults as kids?
Well, the adults are the ones that are being targeted in the first place.
Well, I mean, because as a kid, I think the ultimate responsibility falls on the parent.
No. There is no separate ICD codes for adolescents.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I meant.
But the thing about it is, adults have more responsibilities that they can neglect.
No, absolutely.
That can actually affect.
No, I think you could sit there and say that they actually have more things going on that will actually help you to determine realistically, does this actually fall under as being a disorder? All right. Because I'll be honest. Okay. Look, this stuff, talking about this stuff, hits close to home for me. All right. Shit. I've said on video before that I've lost a girlfriend over fucking video games. All right. Look, and that's the truth. Okay. But the thing was, is that when all of that happened, I was in fucking middle school. Guess what? At that time, did I want to handle anything that I was responsible for? No, I'm a fucking kid. All right. But when you do have what should qualify as a fully matured functioning adult, all right, and everything else, guess what? It makes it a lot easier to go ahead and determine whether or not this is a real disorder or not. Okay.
And that's what I mean about them targeting the adults more than the children.
I don't think that's a target thing. I just think that's just the reality of diagnoses in health. All right. Whether or not somebody has a gambling disorder, or they're a workaholic, or an alcoholic, or other things. You know,
what about Facebook and Twitter addictions? Internet as a whole, TV shows.
Again, it's easier to make some sort of determination on that when you're actually dealing with a fully functioning mature adult.
So are they going to call that a TV disorder or internet disorder or a sports disorder or a workout disorder? Why are they calling it a gaming disorder?
They can call that addiction.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure that there is a code for addiction.
And the thing about it is, when it goes to the point where people are being targeted for their hobbies or what they like to do, and they're being told, "Hey, you need help," that's treading along very dangerous lines.
What if for my hobby I like skinning puppies alive and wearing their entrails as necklaces?
What if that was based on your religion?
You need help.
What if that was based on your religion?
What if I say I'm a staunch atheist while I do that?
That could be based on you and what you like to do.
All right,
my point.
We're going down the rabbit hole.
My point being is that there's where I, like I said, I'm still very much in the camp of saying that the World Health Organization is painting with way too broad a brush. Okay, but guess what? For the colors in the crayon box that they're looking for to go ahead and address for gaming disorder or hazardous gaming, I think these fucking colors already exist. Okay, or a combination of these colors already exist. Okay, as far as the ICD codes. However, like I said, looking at it from a constructive and objective viewpoint, there are still concerns that are out there, and I can see why they went ahead and they did this. Okay, I just hope look, let it sit there in the beta, let people do their research or whatnot. There's a lot of research going out of their way that says that look, and in many cases, gaming can be good for people's mental and emotional health. So, as long as we get that research out there, also for people to sit there and help make decisions and determinations on,
And that was something that I was about to bring up. What about the good side of gaming that can help people?
Yeah,
which is like that.
Which is like
military
video games are their anchor.
The military helps.
The
military uses gaming to help bring back somebody who just came out of Afghanistan or Iraq and overseas doing war. Gaming has helped a lot of those people piece their mind back together. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but come on. But do you really think any doctor in their right mind is going to sit there and then say, "Oh, this soldier's still fucked up. He's got gaming disorder now"? Come on. This is, like I said, this is still even with the ones that exist that you could readily agree on. Even for the ones that exist that you could readily agree on as something that is applicable and realistic. All right. There is some asshole doctor out there who can interpret it in a way that's going to apply it in some form that it's going to be misinterpreted or misused. All right. And guess what? That happens all the time, especially with these ICD and DSM codes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So again, that's another discussion though altogether. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But before we go ahead and we jump into another deep rabbit hole, I think this is a good point right here to go ahead and finish up this particular conversation. What do you out there on YouTube think about the fact that the World Health Organization went ahead and they classified gaming disorder and hazardous gaming on the ICD-11 Beta Draft that's coming up for 2018? We're going to leave a lot of links in the description below for references and everything else. We'd like to know what you think about it. Is this an attack on gaming? Is this a more political agenda? Is there a deeper political agenda underlying it or anything else like that? we'd like to know. You can let us know by leaving a comment below. While you're at it, if you were entertained by this video, or if you're educated, or if you happen to like it, we'd appreciate if you go ahead and you hit that like button. And if you really like what we're doing here and you want to stick around, I do encourage you to go ahead and subscribe and turn on those particular notifications so that you'll see whenever anything new comes out on any of our channels. All right. With that, hearty thank you for following us up all the way until this point. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up our thoughts and our conversation on the World Health Organization making brand new classifications for gaming disorder and hazardous gaming right here. I'm the Reverend.
The theme here.
And I'm Gray Mouse 1.
All forms of entertainment has the right to exist, even if you don't like it. Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming. Credits.